Hi. So I'm going to share with you my number one bit of advice for getting things done. And this is kind of with the idea of an essay, getting done an essay, but really you can apply this to anything, any project, whether it's for your work, whether it's something you want to do on your own, artwork, writing a book, starting a business, anything you want to get done. And it's not rocket science. It's something you know, but actually doing it, okay? So the thing is, when you have a project, you have an essay or assignment, or maybe with your work, or like I said, any project, you tend to be excited about it first. You might get started, you might get some things done, but then you might get bogged down in details. Things like instead of writing your essay, you spend 2 hours decorating the front page, things like that. Or you might just you're not quite sure where to start or how to start, and things get pushed off. Whatever the case is, it's really we are really good at procrastinating, all of us. And I know very well, I have learned from my own procrastination experiences. So how do you get past that? And this is my number one bit of advice. So the key is working on it frequently, working on it every day, constantly every day, build that habit. And it doesn't have to be a lot of time, but by working on every day, what you're doing is you're giving your brain time to think and to process, and this builds up your creativity. So the number one thing, it increases your creativity. Because your brain processes things, and a lot of creativity happens throughout the day when you're resting, when you're doing different tasks, or even while you're sleeping. So by working on it every day, it keeps your project, whatever you're focused on, fresh in your mind, so that your mind has more space and more time to actually think about it, process it. The quality of your ideas is going to go up. Related to that, because you have more time to think about it, process it, whenever you have challenges or difficulties, you're going to have time to problem solve. So if one day you're running into a challenge, let's say you're researching and you're not finding the information, or it's not coming, you're not sure how to get it, the next day your brain's had time to kind of problem solve some of that, and you're likely to have different ideas. You can try something else, and if each day you're trying new things, you're going to figure out how to do it. And in that way, you're building your confidence. So often when we procrastinate, it's a little bit connected with kind of an intimidation or fear of feeling overwhelmed by the task. When you're working a little bit each day, it forces you to break that task into smaller bits, but it also builds your confidence, because you get really comfortable of opening up your laptop and working on your project, or pulling out your art supplies, or pulling out, whatever it is that you need to work with. You just get more comfortable each day pulling it out, get started. You create that rhythm, that habit, and you know better what you're doing. It takes the pressure off also, because then you're not procrastinating, pushing yourself up against a deadline. You're confident, and you'll get a better feel as you work on it. After like a week or two, you have a pretty good idea then of how fast you're moving, and you can kind of gauge yourself. Okay, if I need to get it done in 3 weeks, I need to speed up, or I have plenty of time, I'm doing fine. However it is, it takes away that last minute pressure. Also, it helps to build more frequency. So when you're working on it every day, you're maintaining that habit of frequency. Each day that you work on it, it's going to be easier to continue working the next day. Like I said, this isn't rocket science, and you'll find lots of sources that give you the same bit of advice. But the importance is doing it, setting it, determining it, and doing it. And this daily practice, this is something that lots of successful people in many areas do. I'm an artist, so I would look at artist Van Gogh. You see his artwork. People think of him as highly emotional, doing his artwork kind of out on the field and very quickly, and that was true. But even for his artwork that seemed very quick, he was daily practicing, daily drawing. There were lots of sketches and drawings and work that went into planning that artwork before he actually went out and did it. You'll find similar things with authors, with businessmen, with people across the board who are successful in what they do, they've built those skills through daily practice and being consistent, even when they don't feel like working on it. Especially when they don't feel like working on it, they continue to work on it. Athletes do the same thing. Each day they're out, they're exercising, they're practicing. And often, even when you don't feel like working out, when you get started, it gets you over that kind of wall of starting, and you get into the rhythm, and the motivation that wasn't there to begin with comes. So how to actually do it? What I would really suggest is keep your commitment small. Be very committed every day. And choose a time. Try to hit a time that you know that you have the most energy, the most focus, that you're most likely to be able to do it. For example, maybe when you first come home from work or first come home from school would be a perfect time to go ahead and do it, so that it doesn't get pushed off and then at the end of the day you're tired and you don't want to deal with it. Or whatever time you know your schedule best, what's actually going to work. The other thing is keep the commitment small. Don't tell yourself that you have to work at least 1 hour a day. There's going to be days that you can't work an hour. And then what's going to happen if you've committed to an hour and you can't work an hour, then you're just not going to do it. You're going to lose your rhythm. You're going to lose the habit. It's not going to happen. If you simply commit to just working on it every day, whether it may be 5-minute commitment every day. So does that mean you'll only work 5 minutes? No, because then you don't get things done. But if you do minimum 5 minutes, once you've started and you've done that 5 minutes, usually you've gotten enough into the rhythm of the project that you're ready to keep going. You have the motivation and you will probably work longer. And as you have time, you can feel free to work longer. But those days that are really busy and tired, you won't be able to do longer times. You do the 5 minutes, you've still fulfilled your commitment. You haven't lost the creativity or the rhythm of your work. You haven't lost that practice of frequently visiting it. And you can go on, and inshallah, the next day you will have more time. So this is, in short, what I would really suggest for whatever project, whatever you want to get done, is just determining, setting your schedule every day, open it up, and work on it.